Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with this week's episode of the Market Monday. A lot of you asked for some MTGO tips for speculating and selling off cards, actually just manage your collection. I think that everyone that plays MTGO should actually be a little bit market savvy. Just how much the prices fluctuate on MTGO. You can save yourself a lot of pain by buying when low and selling when high because of just how Magic, you see a lot of cards, they're printed, they follow a very predictable pattern in paper. They print a new set, the set starts off high, and then pretty soon it starts to drop off as more and more cards are drafted, and then while it's in standard and still being sold by Wizards of the Coast, the prices remain low until after rotation for about 2 years, then they start to pick up. That is kind of the market trend with the vast majority of cards from paper Magic. And then we see sets like right before a Modern Pro Tour or now in PTQ season, you'll see Modern Staples go up and then flatten off when it's not in season. And you see this trend year after year after year. MTGO does not work that way. MTGO has its own little market. It also has a lot of events that really affect the prices of modern staples especially. So the one I'm going to talk about right now that is affecting modern by far the most is these flashback drafts. So they announced on December of last year they're going to do flashback drafts starting with Mirrodin, or actually starting with 8th edition on, and then they are going to stop in December with Magic 2014. So this is going to hit everything up to Return to Ravnica, Gatecrash, Dragon's Maze block. And right now we are right here. We are in the Lorwyn. Today is the 13th of June. And so we're in 2 Lorwyn, 1 Morningtide. It was just drafted 3 Lorwyn for a week, and now we're getting the 2 Lorwyn, 1 Morningtide. I timed them on Saturday night. These queues were going about every 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes there'd be an 8-man draft. What is also really cool about these flashback drafts is they're only 10 tickets, so it's $10 to do this old draft. And which, if you compare that to, I believe it's 14 tickets for a new draft, it's a lot more appealing to players that haven't ever drafted this or just want more bang for their buck to draft these old sets. So I'm just going to show you exactly how these are affected. So on the 1st of June, Lauren was started to be drafting. So let's check out Cryptic Command. Cryptic Command started to go down around, so people actually preparing for the flashback drafts. But right here you can see, boom, this is where it really started to go down, is right after the flashback draft started. It went from 7 tickets all the way down to 5, and it's continued. I still think it's going to continue to go down as Lorwyn is drafted. So this is a trend that was caused, or this is just the market adjusting to the new supply of Lorwyn cards. Now I chose Cryptic Command because it is one of the most staple of staple cards in Modern. It's used in a ton of decks. You can see it's in the Nahiri Jeskai, and Scapeshift, and Grixis Control, and Fairies, and Blue Moon. It's basically one of the best cards ever printed for Modern. And we can actually just check out Lorwyn as a set as a whole, and you can see that it also had this huge price drop right there. That's when the draft started, boom, and then down to, it's actually lost about half its value as a set as a whole. And you can see the same trends happen with Morningtide as well as with the sets previously that have just been drafted. So let's go back over here. So this gives some time for preparation for Shadowmoor. So Shadowmoor is like Fulminator Mage, is a very oops, wrong set of Fulminators. So let's look at Shadowmoor. We'll just click on the entire set here, and then you can see that right now there's not a lot of movement in Shadowmoor. People are starting to adjust, so people are actually getting aware of how these flashback drafts are going to affect. So it's already started to lose a little bit of value from 120 to 115%. And yeah, you can definitely see that Fulminator Mage has gone down 37 cents, the Prismatic Omen has gone down 92 cents, and cards like that. So if you have any of these Shadowmoor cards, now is the time to sell, especially Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks should be the card that you, and look, it's already dropped a ton as people start to adjust. I think that you actually have to be like a month or 2 ahead of this now instead of just a week, as the bots are starting to unload these, starting to have that little price war. as they prepare for the huge influx of cards. So here's one, the Gleeful Sabotage, which is a good card in Pauper. This is another card you should definitely just get out of right now, as this is going to go back down to nothing. It's a ticket and 45 cents. The triple Shadowmoor at 2. If the high peak hours like Fridays and Saturdays, from the Lorwyn drafts or any indication, what the Shadowmoor drafts will be like, it's going to be out every 2 minutes. There's going to be another queue. There's going to be, out of 8 packs, there's going to be plenty of these opens per pack, and they're just going to be sold off to bots, and then these are going to go down. So Curse Catcher, Guttural Response, Gleeful Sabotage, Manamorphose, cards like that are cards you should definitely get out of right now in preparation for Shadowmoor. But this does give us a nice little opportunity, going back to Lorwyn, to invest in like the cryptic commands. So this week for MTGO particularly, I think that you can give it a little bit, say in a few weeks, especially after all the Lorwyn has, the dust has settled, that the pickups that I would say, let's go back to the Lorwyn block. See if I can click back. Yeah, definitely would be cryptic command. Thoughtseize I'm not too sure, because let's just check out the Thoughtseize. And Theros is still 4.5, and the foil, it's so funny on MTGO that foils sometimes are less expensive than the non-foil versions. But, yeah, so Thoughtseize at 5.5, there's still a cheaper version in Theros. Theros will also get another flashback draft by the time I think the prices will stabilize for it. But definitely the Wanderwine Hub, the Cryptic Command, the Gaddock Teague, all of these are perfect. Thorn of Amethyst especially, because this is a Legacy card. And I think that Legacy, with the Eternal Masters being drafted on MTGO, is going to bring a lot of people in MTGO for the format. So actually, it's cards that I think are good in Legacy would be the ones you should pick up. But I don't think there's many from this set that are actually Legacy playable. Just basically the Thorn of Amethyst. We also have the other blocks with Lorwyn, so Morningtide. There, you could definitely check out some cards out of Morningtide that you could invest in for especially the Legacy type format. So anyway, that's just my little heads up. It's just going to be a shorter Market Monday. People wanted MTGO. That's one of the best, right now, what we have with the Flashback drafts. That's one of the best advice I have to buying and selling. Buy these cards in a week or two from the Lorwyn block. They'll start to pick up or start to recover, and sell off in Shadowmoor and start preparing and selling off in the following sets after that, which would be the Eventide, of course, and Shards of Alara. So definitely, I would start selling off this block, especially Shards of Alara, Shadowmoor, and Eventide, and then start picking up Time Spiral, Future Sight, 10th edition Lorwyn cards on MTGO. And I guarantee those will start to go up, and I guarantee these will drop significantly, especially the commons and uncommons. So no paper this week. I don't think that the market has really moved too much. There aren't too many exciting decks in Standard. There are a few, like there's a Red-Blue Flyers deck with the Goldgate Castigator, which is very popular. So if you're looking for a Standard card, I think the Goldgate Castigator, let's just check that out really quickly, is a card that you can definitely, or Goldwing, Gold something Castigator. Castigator. What is it even called? Castigate. Let's look at Shadows over Innistrad. Jace. That was a bad one to look at. Let's just look at the movers and shakers real quick. That's the way to do it. So, or it's Gold Knight Cascadator. Isn't that what they're called? Let's just click on one of these. This will find us in the Shadows over Innistrad. So, we have Shadows over Innistrad, Mythics. You can see that the Gold Knight Castigator is $1.99 right now, and should start to see a little bit of a bump just of how heavily it started to be played in this UR deck, as well as this UR Eldrazi, yes, is starting to play it as well. This is actually Flyers. This isn't Eldrazi. It's just misnamed. There aren't any Eldrazi in here except for the Dimensional Infiltrators. So this Blue-Red Flyers is starting to get very popular. It's very similar to that Blue-White Flash deck that I have, except the value cards they're using are going to be the Pine Chrono and Gold Knight Castigator, and then use some burn rather than so much of the Clash of Wills is still there, but it's Fire Impulse and this Exquisite Firecraft that you can use to actually dish out some damage as well, and heavier on the counter spell. So this is a really cool deck. So you can see that this card from Standard might be the one that's can go up the quickest out of any of the cards out of Shadows or Innistrad. It's just still right around a $2 card. And I've seen as much as a 4 of played in this deck. I've also seen some other decks not quite using blue, using white instead in this kind of white tempo deck, white control deck, and using the Gold Knight Castigator as kind of the finisher. Very similar red shell, but just swap out blue for white. Anyway, hope this is a decent Market Monday for all of you that are in MTGO. I think this is the best advice I can give you, and I'll look at some other tips and tricks for MTGO in the future, but this is just the obvious one. Anyway, this has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Rogue Market. I hope it helps. If you're interested in seeing more videos for the Rogue Market, you can click on the link here, as well as click on the link to the right to go to our store to support Rogue Deck Builder. We have upcoming gear to be added to these sites, so keep checking back frequently. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.